Good evening. My name is Luca Rossettini. I'm the CEO and co-founder of The Orbit. The Orbit produces a smart propulsive device to be installed on satellite before launch and able to remove the satellite at the end of life without the risk of collision with other spacecraft on space or into people and assets on the Earth. Probably one or two of you are really wondering what is really going on above our head in space. So among 6,000 satellites launched so far, only 900 are still working. All the others are completely uncontrolled, flying at 30,000 kilometers per hour, at risk of colliding to each other, generating fragments. There are millions of fragments in space. And even one small piece of paint, yes, paint, is able to destroy a whole satellite. The risk of collision keeps increasing, and today only few satellites are removed according to international regulation. The whole space sector is at risk, and of course this is a problem. And the very same problem this European Space Agency manager is talking about is not going to stop. The $150 billion space industry market is still growing, and we are expecting 1,200 new satellites to be launched in the next 8 years. And we are not talking about saving the trees, we are talking about money. These people make huge amount of money in space. And satellite operators have problems now because of debris. They have to avoid collisions with this piece of satellites in space. It means that they have to use part of their fuel to move the satellites up and down to avoid collisions. And using this fuel, it means that they can stay in orbit less and make less revenues. They have at least to try to eliminate the satellite at the end of life. Either way, pushing the satellite in a 25 years trajectory towards the Earth, or reorbiting the satellite in a, let's say, parking orbit. Either way, they will use fuel again, and they reduce the amount of money they can make in space. Eventually, sometimes launchers, the big rockets that bring the satellites into space, fail. You end up with €500 million satellite in the wrong position. You can't make any money from it. So you have, again, to use a huge amount of propellant to put the satellite in the right position, wasting money. And here it comes the Orbit. The Orbit is an active and dedicated device to install on satellite. So you plug the Orbit on the satellite before it goes into space. The satellite goes into space, do whatever it needs to do, all the operation that it needs to perform, and then when it reaches the end of life, from Earth, you can command directly our device that will push the satellite, for example, in a very precise and safe trajectory towards inhabited areas on the Earth. In 2012, we developed a prototype and we tested it successfully. Here you can see some performance tests that we did on the engine. The technology is completely modular, is scalable, and is very, very, very reliable. It's independent from the satellite and can remove the satellites in few hours instead of the 25 years required today by the regulation. There's no point to leave an uncontrolled satellite for 25 years in space. The next regulation probably will force to decrease this number, and we don't want to qualify again and again and again our technology. So we are compliant today, and we will be always compliant to the regulations. This guy, Marco Pascucci, this former senior vice president of Alenia Space and also involved with the European Space Agencies and Italian Space Agencies, is now part of our advisory board. We are not a non-profit, so we want to make money, and we deliver great advantages to our customers. For example, if you have the Orbit on board of your satellite, you can use till the last drop all the fuel that you have on your satellite and make more money, up to €25 million more revenues per single satellite. Or, if you have a failure during the launch, we can help you to save from 20 to 80% of the whole mission of your satellite. It's a huge amount of money. And our technology is not interesting only for satellite operators. Satellite manufacturers are as well think that we can be a competitive advantage for them to sell our technology to their customers. And, well, you may think that there should be regulations that force satellite operators to behave. Yes, actually, there are regulations. Whatever you do in space, you are liable of any damages that you produce in space or on the Earth. It's pretty much like driving your car, so you are liable if you do some damages. And the next regulation will force every satellite to have the orbiting device on board. Today, there is a special law in France that forces satellite operators to push the satellite in a very controllable and precise trajectory towards the Earth, unless you can demonstrate that it's technically unfeasible. Well, when the orbit will be on the market, it will be impossible to demonstrate that it's technically unfeasible. So, who we are? The Orbit. The founders come from the aerospace and defense industry. We have on our advisory board satellite manufacturers, satellite operators, space agencies people, strategic innovation, space insurance people. Today we are 13 people inside the Orbit, smart, enthusiastic, and very, very passionate for space. We started in Italy in 2011. We have a subsidiary established in California to address the American market, 2012. And very soon we will be in Portugal as well to address the South of America market, the emerging market like Brazil, for example. We are working on some project right now. The Orbit was asked to deliver the orbiting device for a technology demonstrator satellite. We are working on adapting a satellite platform to accommodate the orbiting device, and also with a constellation of non-European satellites. To be honest, we don't have any signed contract yet, so this is work in progress. But for sure, in 2014, we will have a fully qualified brain of our technology and the testing space. So far we raised €1 million from venture capital money, and we are now looking for other €4 million co-investment to reach the €7 million required for the fully development and qualification of the technology and go to market. So if you have any change with you, I will be happy to take care of that. So this is the end of my presentation, but I have one more slide. Since we are opening an office here in Portugal, if you know any space engineer, smart, creative, with a strong passion for space, please send me an email. Thank you very much.